This episode of the Andy and Mitch Show brought to you by Coca-Cola.
That's not true.
That smooth buzz down my throat feels good. Mmm.
That's what she said, maybe?
Coca-Cola.
Oh.
Coca-Cola.
Welcome to episode 006 of the Andy and Mitch Show. As you can see today, there's three of us.
Whoa!
What a concept. Our good friend Nick Rogals is here to leave his imprint on the sports world. Nick, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself, who you like, your favorite sports, that sort of thing.
All right, first of all, thank you guys for having me on. It's a pleasure.
Problem.
You guys are doing a great job. I went to school with you guys, obviously. We all met last year, so I'm graduated now. You guys have to further your college world at ISU.
Good old Illinois State.
I'll sit at home on the mom's couch for a while until I get my foot out there in the media world. But my allegiance has got to be all Chicago sports, obviously. I'm sure you guys are the same way. But the sports I love the most are obviously baseball and football. So diehard Cubs fan, diehard Bears fan. I know you guys are Cubs fans, so it's easy to talk to. So I'll have a little bit of a bias towards the Cubs, but there's no hate against the White Sox. I don't hate them. People need to understand that if you're a Cubs fan, you don't necessarily hate the White Sox.
I hate the White Sox. I've been bred to hate the White Sox thanks to my neighbors.
Okay.
It's not just out of nowhere. It's not because they're in Chicago. It's just because of the fans, pretty much. Not because they're also in Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, if they're in it and they're far into the playoffs, I'll root for them. But obviously, the Cubs
not this year.
Right. The Cubs are first, and then it's the Bears, and then the NBA is what it is these days. I mean, it's hard to watch for me, so I'll support the Bulls. But other than that, it's Cubs and Bears, and then it's college basketball. I don't have a set college basketball team now, Illinois State, but
I was just about to ask that. Is it college basketball over the NBA?
Right. Yeah. Oh, definitely, no doubt. And that's a big topic that people are still discussing.
You and I have that in common. Mitch does not.
I love the NBA. I love it. It's so fake and staged and dramatic. It drives me wild. I love it.
Yeah. See, for college basketball, I like that it's almost like high school, but the best players, mostly the best players, depending on what game you're watching, go at it, and they actually play defense. Where there's a debate where the NBA, people think they play defense, and some players do, and they decide when to play defense and when not to play. But college is you don't have the best players on the court at all times. They don't have the best 5 players in the league like, the NBA does, but they have a couple players that are ready to play in the NBA. And, it's fun to watch them because it's always competitive. They play hard, and, they have, one of the best coaches to watch is, Coach K and Duke. Yeah. So, it's fun. Before Illinois State, I didn't have a set college basketball team. I just enjoyed watching any game and the March Madness, but obviously now I'll be following Illinois State until I die. So.
March Madness is a big topic between us because of the WZND pool that we had going on this year.
Yeah,
that I won.
You literally just said that just because you won. That's the only reason you brought that up.
I won, and I beat both of you. So
you barely.
Mitch did well.
Yes, I did very well.
There was a time
I tanked.
Yeah, you tanked a little bit with West Virginia.
Oh yeah, that's right. See, it's too late to rant about that.
See, Mitch and I though, the funniest part was that we're 2 of 3 freshmen in that pool.
Yeah,
a bunch of upperclassmen and teachers. And then at one point it was just Mitch and I at 1 and 2, which was the funniest part. But anyways, that's part of our past.
You guys gotta go ahead.
Do you have anything else to say?
No, keep the March Madness tradition at ZND.
Oh, definitely.
So you guys got to run it now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Whoever, I guess Steve too. I don't know.
Yeah. Before we go into our topics for today, I do have to mention I have the Colorado Rockies hat on today. Mitch,
I'm going Kobe Showtime Lakers jersey.
Showtime Lakers jersey.
3/4 sleeve.
There you
shirt.
There you go, Rogals.
It's my look. I have a bunch of them.
Yeah.
I get a bad tan with it.
Do you really have a tan like right underneath your elbow?
I used to when I play baseball like every day with these because I always used to wear these shirts. Now it's not bad. It's kind of normal tan.
that'd be a funny tan to have from wearing.
But no, in high school, it was like the whole upper arm was tan, and then my forearm is pale. So
I should also mention that Rogals doesn't make his bed. So that's a thing.
This is actually my brother's room.
Oh,
really?
Yeah, I didn't have a good setup in my room for this.
That's fine.
Gotcha.
Yeah. More comfortable in here. So
we see.
He doesn't make his bed. My brother does not make his bed.
Okay, we'll leave that. All right, that's true. All right, so getting into the news of today. First topic of the day. The Cubs have officially, we talked about it last week, talked about trade deadline stuff. The Cubs, earlier this week, have officially, like he was on the team last night, traded for Aroldis Chapman. Probably the best reliever in all of Major League Baseball. It's arguable, but then again, everything in Major League Baseball
in all
sports
is arguable. Yeah,
that's
why we make these shows.
Oh yeah, definitely. So the Cubs have done that. They paid a steep price in quotation marks. They gave up Gleyber Torres, the top prospect in the Cubs system. Billy McKinney, an outfielder who they received in the Oakland Athletics trade in 2014 that involved Addison Russell and Jeff Samardzija. They traded Rashad Crawford, a young shortstop, I believe. He was playing at Myrtle Beach High A baseball earlier this year. And Adam Warren, who we had previously gotten from the Yankees in the offseason for Starlin Castro.
Back to the Bronx.
The Bronx. The only person we got in return, Aroldis Chapman. So a lot of things are at play in this. We can talk about whether it was worth it, giving up all that much, the impact he's going to have, the previous history that he's had in the offseason. For those of you who don't know, Aroldis Chapman was not charged, but he was investigated by Major League Baseball and authorities into an incident of domestic violence that he had with his girlfriend, who is still his girlfriend, I believe, in October.
And he was suspended, 40 games?
He was suspended 30 games earlier this year. So Major League Baseball clearly thought it was serious enough to suspend him, but he was not charged. So that's something we do have to take into account. The undisputable facts do say that there was a conflict involved and that stuff did happen. So that's undisputable that something happened. So a lot of fans are having trouble, including myself,
definitely
being able to accept Chapman onto this team after, the past that he's had. I believe in second chances and everything, but it's hard not being able to see that up close and personal. So I don't know what you guys have for your opinion on this. You guys can go. What do you guys think?
Yeah, he's obviously a great player. He has been a great player ever since he came into the league. I think he has the best strikeout ratio ever.
He's got
for a pitcher or something like that.
He's definitely up there.
He's up in double digits for strikeouts per 9 innings this season.
Yeah, which is insane. And so there is no doubt that he is such a great talent. But his off the field antics are what really gets fans, front offices, and I think that's why a few GMs, obviously not Theo Epstein, but why a few GMs were very turned off by him. And I guess Epstein found something in his heart, and or maybe his 105-mile-an-hour fastball just made him bypass his moral compass. But it's a great organizational move.
Yeah, this is just purely baseball.
If we're talking just baseball, it's a fantastic move. It's the obvious choice. Did you give up a lot? Yes, you did, but were these guys actually, in the minor leagues, were these guys actually ever going to see the field?
As a Cub, maybe not. But
exactly, and so maybe giving these guys a chance in the Yankees organization. But if you think about it, and Andy, you talked about this, because Warren was put into the deal, that brings Starlin Castro into the deal.
Yeah, because it was not a 1-for-1. We also got Brendan Ryan in that Starlin Castro Adam Warren deal, who we immediately cut. But he was part of the deal. But it's essentially making Starlin Castro part of this deal, which makes you think, Is that worth it? Rogals, what do you think? Giving up 2 major league talents instead of just one that we had
Well,
previously.
well, let's. I'll take out the. Don't worry about the Castro thing right now. Let me just talk about the Chapman, where the Hoyer and Epstein really looked deep into this guy, and we saw it all over Twitter. We saw it all over the news articles and everything, and they really looked into this guy and made sure that he is the perfect fit for this team. If they didn't like his off-field antics, like Mitch was saying, they would have passed on him, like I'm sure some other teams did. But this guy brings something else to the bullpen and something else to the mound. First of all, he has 30 plus saves, and every closer role he's had. I think he's played 5 seasons or 6, and he's different, and he makes a huge impact other than some closers, and he's almost like if you guys know Fernando Rodney, he closes games out, but he brings so much emotion to the game too, and I think that's what Chapman can bring, and I think sorry, go ahead.
No, and I was saying, as much as of a liability he could be,
Right.
he's gonna bring fans into the stadium.
Exactly.
Our Cubs fans are already coming, but when now you have Aroldis Chapman, arguably the most superstar reliever in the league, that's his name alone is going to bring more fans into the games and make the games more exciting. And so I think that might have also added something to their plan.
The Cubs are in a situation where it's now or never for them. I think they're that team now where they can make these huge moves right before the deadline and get a big run into the playoffs like they did last year. The Yankees did it every year until besides this year, but they do it every year. They make that huge move. Whereas like the Blue Jays are they're on an off season, so they make their moves like the David Price move they had, but. This is the season where the Cubs, they put the offseason moves in place. They got Lackey, they got Hayward, they made the moves they need to do, and this is another step for them. And this is like a must-win year, not a must-win year, but this move is respectful by fans. I think I respect it, and the bullpen was shaky. It wasn't that bad. It was more of the middle relief than the closer. But Rondon struggled, but if you can get Chapman in there now and you can do what the Royals did, where do you have Strop, Rondon, and Chapman possibly?
Yeah.
Or get your starter to the 7th and do Strop, Rondon mixed in the 8th and have Chapman close out the 9th. They have a good setup now. And, I believed in Rondon. I think a lot of people did. I know, Andy, you did.
Yeah, I still do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too, but they gave up a lot, but that's what you have to do. That's how these trade deadlines work. You get a rental, you give up a lot for them. Torres, I think, is the only guy I could see that could have maybe played second for the Cubs in the future.
Yeah, but I look a lot into minor league prospects. Like, that's kind of my thing. I love and stuff like that. You guys know. And I just never fell in love with Gleyber Torres because I knew that, well, when we signed him, which was a couple of years ago, we signed him out of Central America. He was 16. He's like my age.
Yeah.
Like, which is crazy to me.
Right.
Because that's happening now that I'm 19. People start doing great things at my age.
I know.
I'm sure it's worse for Rogals.
It's like, well, I'm here.
Well, now I'm older than everyone getting into the league.
Yeah.
Especially NBA.
Oh, yeah, for NBA. That's tough for you.
Yeah.
But when we signed Torres, I'm like, oh, man, this guy's my age. But when we signed him, we had Castro at shortstops. I'm like, oh, we already have our shortstop of the future. We don't really need him. Then we have Russell now, so it's kind of like, I don't know.
That's why I
if
said
there's room
second.
for him. Yeah, second too. And then for me, even second could be taken up because we got Baez, who could possibly move in there after Zobrist is done. We have Ian Happ, who we drafted last year in the first round, that can move into second.
Yeah, he almost is like a Zobrist where Happ can't really play the whole infield, but he can play outfield too.
Yeah. Exactly. So we got lots of options, and I think it was good. Kind of like Dan Vogelback, when we knew we didn't have room for him.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll get some kind of something in return that we can use at the major league level.
The Cubs have been very smart about their prospects. When they see, all right, this position is already going to be taken. We know we have this guy locked up for 4 more years. we can definitely get something from him in return. You know, we know he's never going to see the field. He's never going to see Wrigley Field unless it's on the opposing team. So
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
this was always their plan, kind of draft the best available, and that which usually ended up being bats, and
Yeah.
then trade the
Yeah.
bats for pitching at some point. But you did mention locked up for 4 years, which we can bring that back to Chapman. Is there any chance that he re-signs with the Cubs?
That's tough.
No.
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 Rogals says no.
I think he's a straight up rental. We've seen it in the past all the time by every team. David Price last year knew he wasn't going to re-sign with Toronto. And
I don't know.
Boston milked that contract till the last cent. And
Yeah,
now
that's
he's
true.
getting paid big money. And he's doing mediocre work for that kind of money.
Yeah.
See, I originally I wanted Price to come to the Cubs, but now I'm kind of
Right.
I'm
happy
grateful.
that he didn't.
Yeah.
But the thing about Chapman is it all depends on his performance too.
I think it's performance and ego, though. Like we said, he's a very superstar player.
Yeah,
You know,
he's gonna want superstar money.
Exactly, and the Cubs can't offer that. They can't.
We got a lot of money tied up in guys right now.
But like the money is tied up in good places.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah,
not
it's
like
not a
it's
bad
not like
thing.
it's not like we have a Pujols contract.
Right.
Oh man,
Which
the
we don't.
Angels.
Or at this point for the Red Sox, a David Price contract.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and so you know, it's one of those things where it's performance based, but also you got to look at his ego, whether he wants to stay in Chicago, because these guys, you know, during the season they live around here, and whether he likes the city, the cold. I mean, he played in Cincinnati and New York, so he should be accompanied to the cold. But you know, I don't know. We'll see.
And we have to see if he fits in at all, because if he doesn't fit in with the core group of guys, then I can't see Theo and Jed saying like, "All right, come back."
Yeah.
The thing I've noticed is, you know, he's a different type of closer, like Mariano Rivera was and stuff, and you know Hoffman. But closers, relief pitchers tend to move around a ton in the major leagues. So
a ton.
I could see Chapman. You know, by the end of his career, he could be on 6+ different teams. I see him getting, you know, not re-signing with the Cubs, regardless of how he does. Even if, okay, maybe let's say he just pitches lights out this whole season, lights out in the postseason, and the Cubs win a World Series, then maybe. But like, I see him getting like the biggest contract he can, and he's going to sign with some just like not the Yankees, obviously, but a team with a lot of money.
He'll go to the Dodgers. Everyone goes to the Dodgers.
Like the Dodgers, right? Or you know,
he said that he wouldn't be opposed to a Yankees return. So we'll see if the Yankees would want to put out the money for that.
And that's an interesting move, because if the Yankees are looking into it like that, where let's trade Chapman now and get all these Cubs prospects, and then let's
get him back.
Let's take the chance of signing him after the season.
It's smart. That would be
the Cubs did that.
Steinbrenner move.
And the Cubs did that with Jason Hamill.
Yeah,
exactly. A couple years ago. Clearly not the same level, but the Cubs did do
same concept. Yeah,
they might not have had it in mind like Chapman is, obviously, but yeah, that's a perfect example of the way it worked out and stuff. And I think they obviously know that could be a possibility.
Yeah,
and the Yankees have the money to throw at anyone.
The Yankees always have the money to throw. Yeah,
exactly.
Yankees. So it seems like we're all. I guess I'm probably more reserved about Chapman than you two, just because of his past. I mean, you can't blame people for being reserved either.
Oh, definitely.
You know,
he brought that upon himself. You know.
Yeah. David Kaplan, who was a radio personality in Chicago,
and TV.
Yeah.
TV, yeah.
He has he's been very level-headed about this whole situation. He's very excited because he's a lifelong Cubs fan. They're making a big move. Like, when was the last time the Cubs made this big of a move mid-season?
I don't remember.
Well,
they're the best player out there.
Well, they've made moves, but it was them just getting rid of everyone.
Yeah, it was the other way around.
Selling superstar players.
It's like, when was the last time they bought? So clearly he's excited for that, and he also understands that, you know, some people may not be okay with that because of Chapman's past. You know, what kind of message does this send to like women who are Chicago Cubs fans?
Yeah,
and I think Theo and Jed have done a good job diffusing the situation, talking to Chapman beforehand, because people deserve second chances.
Definitely.
But they definitely have taken the right steps. They've been very cautious, and I think they've gotten the right steps to making this right. You know.
I agree.
I wish they got Miller though.
Oh, definitely. I would have rather had Miller.
But they wanted Schwarber, I think.
And
They wanted too much, but
yeah, we talked about this last week. There was no way
really?
Schwarber was ever leaving.
yeah, no.
Schwarber was gone. So I think we're pretty much talked out on Chapman.
Yeah.
We can talk about the Cubs forever, but Mitch.
We'll see. We'll see how they do with because he hasn't thrown yet. So we'll see if he gets in. I mean, he'll get in. Just hasn't been an opportunity yet.
Hopefully tonight, Cubs White Sox at Wrigley Field, home field debut.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've gotten more excited about it as time has gone on.
You just have to see him in a uniform and actually on the mound throwing, and then you can voice your opinion even more.
There you go. All right, so we're done with Cubs Chapman, and now we're going to move on to a subject that we have brought up in the past couple of weeks, actually a lot. So, Mitch.
But it's right here, right in our faces. Rio is not ready for the Olympics. Most of the buildings that they've inspected are not passing. Zika protocols are in place to keep diseases out, but what does that mean? And not all of the Russians have been banned from the games. So, Rogals, what are your opinions on Rio right now?
There's like one word to describe it, I guess, it's just chaos. Like, we're like 2 weeks away. I know basketball starts August 6th. I'm not sure when the actual Olympics start, when like the opening ceremony starts, but I mean, this isn't how it's supposed to go. This is the Olympics. This is like every country you can name is competing in this worldwide event with like all these different sports and events going on, and they're just like it's not how it's supposed to be, and it hasn't been like that in the past. And Chicago was up for it for this one, and it would have been nice to see that.
Imagine that we could have had the Olympics just an hour away
right
now.
A lot of people say, so the old Olympic chairman who decided this, it was his last time.
Okay.
He was Southern American. And so
there's a bunch
a lot of people said, that he told the voters, this is my last Olympics, just put it in South America one more time, just for me. And so a little bit of rigging going on, but obviously, even if he wanted it there, they are not ready. Rio is not ready. The Australian national team said that they are not going to live in Olympic Village because they're already there. They're training there and getting used to like the weather and all that, and they stayed in there for one night. All of their toilets collapsed.
What?
Yes, all of their toilets failed stress tests. And the Australian national team was like, nope, we're out. So they decided to leave. And I don't know where they're staying now, but they're not going to stay in Olympic Village. And it makes you wonder, whether other, Olympic teams are going to be like, this is really trashy. Why would we stay here?
I can't even put words to it because it's just like ridiculous to me. And then you bring in, to go along that, you have to bring in what's going on with Russia too. It's just like you just like gotta pull your hair out if you're on the board for the Olympics. It's just like, the Zika virus, is getting even worse. No one wants to even go to the Olympics, and I just said it. The Olympics is huge for some people. Don't do anything but train for the Olympics.
It's a culmination of sports around the world.
Yeah.
And this only happens once every 4 years, at least the summer. They
right.
But
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
It kind of makes you wonder if the Olympics has overstayed its welcome a little bit, because as soon as you get politics and rigged votes, like we're kind of talking about with South America and Rio, as soon as you start getting that stuff involved, the integrity of the games fails, and just I look at the Olympics as just a way for the Olympics committee to make money, because we talked about this before, the Keith Olbermann little bit where he talked about how Sochi was just left in like ruins after the Olympics. Like,
they've been untouched.
Yeah, clearly it wasn't the best town to begin with, But now the town itself, like the city itself, is just in so much debt just because that's what the Olympics does. The city barely makes any money from the Olympics. It's like they probably, in fact, lose money from the
Yeah.
Olympics because
Well, that's what they were saying.
they take so
That's
much
kind
money.
of why people didn't want Chicago, because it takes money away from the city. As much tourism comes in, and while yes, it would have been safer and all of these things, as much tourism as it brings in, it doesn't profit.
No, it doesn't,
You know?
because the Olympics takes that money. The city sees
Yes.
none of it, which is the problem with this. That's why I have a problem with it, because it's not about the sport anymore. It's just about making money for the Olympic Committee. Same with the World Cup. The World Cup is like that too.
Yeah,
Right.
it's true.
Exactly. I don't even find myself watching the Olympics that much either.
I have never.
I didn't watch it at all in 2014. I probably won't even watch it in 2016. Honestly,
I don't think I will.
It's just it's not exciting anymore.
Yeah, the only thing I really watched was like the winter hockey. That was like one time I watched it. It wasn't like I like kept up with it.
Yeah,
so like to me, I'm like, I don't really like. It sucks what's going on, and like it's frustrating to read about, just being like a sports fan and stuff. But I'm not gonna watch it anyways.
Yeah.
So
it's I remember one time in school we put like the Winter Olympics hockey matches on while we were in like math class. It was like one of those classes where like
Yeah.
the best days in high school were the March Madness days. Everyone was like watching on their phone.
Right.
One of the best things. And Olympics can like be that exciting. Clearly they were, because people were watching hockey in class. But it's just, you got so many issues. It's tough to look past those and just look at the sport itself, which is sad, because it should be a celebration of like teams and sports and worldwide sportsmanship, stuff like that.
Exactly.
But all it's turned into is just making money for people, which is, it sucks.
Yeah, that's how it should be.
No, definitely not how it should be. There should definitely be. This isn't like a call to action, like boycott the Olympics until they make it better.
Right.
It's kind of just like, it's just kind of annoying that they don't have their stuff together. Like, come on, Olympics. Yeah. You're a worldwide organization and you can't put on a show. Like, even if it was Rio, you should have been preparing for this. Like, first of all, why would they let the city take care of their problems? Because clearly they have those problems in the first place because of the way the city is. And now the city, Rio itself, is supposed to get rid of those problems in time for the Olympics.
Ridiculous.
I just kind of felt the Olympics itself just was like, all right, well, be ready by this time. Good luck with that. And then Rio's like, well, we've been trying to, get rid of this stuff. I don't know. Giving us a end date would help with that. Clearly it didn't, because they're still having problems.
Exactly, yeah. And we're like 2 weeks away.
Yeah, it's getting close. I think we are 2 weeks away.
Yeah, we are.
I'm basing everything on when I move into college, because I know that date. And that's a week before. I move into college in 3 weeks, and that's Olympics are a week before.
Yeah,
so 2 weeks. There you go. That's
2 weeks away, and I won't watch any of it.
I won't watch any.
Yeah.
I will watch the opening ceremony just to see how it's all set up in Rio, because it is cool to see like the opening ceremony where all the countries walk around and stuff.
Yeah.
But
if you're an architecture nerd, then you can definitely enjoy seeing how all that's set up. I like architecture. I can get down with some architecture. It's cool.
Yeah, you guys can talk about the architecture on your next whatever episode is after.
Yeah, we can talk about that with Christophs.
Oh yeah, whenever Christophs comes on the show, he's a huge architecture fan.
Oh yeah, we'll get all down and dirty with architecture with Christophs. All right, so I think we all pretty much decided that the Olympics are failing.
Are trash.
They're trash. And what was that, Rogals?
I would say we don't even need to talk about the Olympic team, because it just adds to the fire.
Yeah. Before we get to the Olympic team, though, we're going to go back to baseball, because we're crisscrossing subjects.
Yeah.
We're getting into the Chris Sale Saga. So, it's been a week since we had an episode, and a lot has happened in the last week. I can pretty confidently say that a week ago, I was 100% confident the White Sox would not deal Chris Sale, even if I thought they should. I mean, my FaceTime last week was like, White Sox, accept the rebuild. And then they did. like kind of, because you started hearing Chris Sale's name being brought up in trade conversations, and then Saturday night, I believe, Chris Sale goes crazy. We can just leave it at that. Cuts up his uniform. If you haven't heard this story already, I don't know what you're doing, but cuts up his throwback uniform, gets suspended, sent home for the day, didn't make the start. I remember being in a rain delay in Kenosha, and being on my phone and seeing that he got scratched. And I'm like, did he just get traded? I thought he legitimately
That's
got
what I
traded.
thought too. I thought that he just got traded.
Yeah, and then they brought up
That's what everyone was saying.
Yeah, and then they brought up like the non-physical altercation that happened in the clubhouse. A really confusing time to be Chris Sale. And now, coming up on today, we're still seeing a ton of like articles coming out, like who can trade for Chris Sale? Like, should the White Sox do it? And it's a big issue to think about. First of all, let's go to the jersey issue.
Yes.
Rogals.
Yeah.
What is clearly Chris Sale had a problem with the jerseys because apparently for the whole year, White Sox pitchers got to decide what jerseys they're able to select. Is this right for Chris Sale to be upset that they are putting marketing before winning? I don't know. What do you think of his argument?
I think the trade rumors got to him because it's just like, who does that? Right. And I don't see Sale has had no past. He just, he has a little bit of emotion. You can see it on the field sometimes, but he's not outspoken at all. Phenomenal pitcher. Up for Cy Young.
That's an understatement. Phenomenal is an understatement.
Exactly. Yeah. He's Cy Young this year.
I'm just confused on what was going on in that clubhouse and why he cut up the jersey.
If Drake LaRoche was in there, this would have never happened. I just want to let you know. Drake would have kept this team together.
But I think it went along with his the trade rumors and everything like that. Because after that came out, once he got scratched, like you guys said, everyone on Twitter blowing up. Well, it was nice knowing you, Sale. Well, Sale's getting traded, and I thought so too. And then like a couple hours later, it goes, he cut up his jersey, so they scratched him. I'm like,
yeah,
all right. But yeah, there's like it's just hard to talk about because like all you hear about nowadays is like what happened to Chapman with off the field issues and stuff like that, and people with PEDs and steroids and stuff, and then Chris Sale cuts his jersey up because
we've never seen anything like this
because he's pouting. Because he's
just pouting. Yeah. He got suspended 5 games for pouting, and
it's almost embarrassing, to be honest.
I think
it's embarrassing as a professional athlete. It's embarrassing for
a professional anything.
Yeah.
But like taking steroids, sure, bad. But like
sure, yeah, sure, that's bad.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's embarrassing. But like he basically had like a baby fit. Like he was like
a temper tantrum.
They need to put him in like the corner for 5 games. Like he got grounded.
Yeah.
That's and I love Chris Sale. Yeah, this doesn't change my outlook on him at all. I think he's a great player, but I mean, if Sox were rolling, this would never happen. If he were winning, they were winning, and no trade talks were happening. The trade talk is what put some fire under him, and he just got a little aggravated. That's all.
Yeah, and kind of talking about that, like, should the White Sox trade him? I think so, because he seems uncontent there, and if a player's uncontent, they don't pitch their best, and they don't play their best, And trust me, if you are going to trade Chris Sale, you're going to get something of a lot of worth for him.
I think he's easily the best. He's just the best piece out there right now. The trade.
I think that's right, and that also brings the fact though, who can trade for this guy, because he's worth an entire organization.
Mm-hmm.
He is the White Sox organization right now, and whenever he's really the only person that you could say like, oh, like he's on the White Sox, like yes, like he is the star player on the White Sox.
Yeah.
For a lot of teams, it's like, oh, they have a lot of good pieces. No, he is the team.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
will that make teams say, all right, am I really going to put this much out there for a player that pitches once every 5 days?
Yeah, and that's where it comes down to. But he look, it all depends on what the Sox front office thinks about their team this season. They're only
Yeah.
6 out of the wild card. They're 50 and
Really?
50. Yeah. They're
Wow.
50 and 50. They've won their last 4 games in a row. So they're 8 out of the Central, which I don't think they'll catch Cleveland or
I
even
don't think they
Detroit.
will.
But they're 6 out, which is we're not even in August yet. So we have a full August, a full September. It all depends. Like, can this team make a run and reach the playoffs with Sale, or do we play with the team we have, shop Sale, and rebuild from them, and just from there, and just see what the season pans out to be? Because Sale is he's a bargain though. That's the thing. He's worth a lot of money, but the Sox can rebuild that farm system. They have a good farm system already, but they can rebuild it even more, or get players to play right now on the major league team with the Sale trade and hopefully make a run. But I don't know. It's just it's hard to tell. The only teams that I can really see making moves for Sale is, I know they were already in the talks, was the Rangers.
Yeah.
Because they do need a little bit of pitching, and Houston's right on their butt. Only 3.5 games out. So I think he's going to try to. I think they want to keep him in the AL. He just seems like an AL guy.
I agree.
But,
Chris Sale batting.
Yeah,
we'll see that. We'll see
He's
that
going
on
to be
Thursday.
Yeah.
Thursday
But
we'll see that.
I'll say this though: if the Yankees were the team they were in the past, a first place team, that's like the perfect
I agree.
fit.
That's
Like,
what I
that
was
is a
thinking
team that
too.
will go all out for that guy. But at this point, they're 2 games better than the Sox. It's not a move they want to make.
Yeah.
So, if anything, I could see Texas, maybe even the Dodgers, because they just make moves.
They always make moves, yeah.
But I don't think. I mean, there's only 5 days left, and of the deadline, I think the Sale talk is kind of went under the water now. I think it was a big talk for a week, like, oh, this guy, where is he going to go? Is he going to land here? Is he going to go here? And then the jersey issue happened, and then it kind of all just went away.
Yeah. Well, with the whole jersey issue, I think he kind of has a point that the team should be, thinking about winning more than they're thinking about marketing.
I agree too.
But if you're Chris Sale, you can't just have a temper tantrum like that. This date has been on the schedule for so long. He knew that this was going to happen. Maybe marketing next time could make the jerseys more comfortable, because that's what he was complaining about. He can't pitch to his best when he's wearing those jerseys. As far as if the White Sox should trade him, absolutely, they should definitely.
Yes,
I agree.
They should trade him.
They should,
but I don't think it will happen.
I'm thinking not now, because I don't think anyone that would trade for him will give up the right amount of pieces.
Maybe
at this
wait
point
until
in the year.
off season.
Yeah, I definitely think the off season, because if the Rangers want to trade for him, they're gonna have to give up like 2 major league pieces at least to get Sale, like Nomar Mazara, Joey Gallo. And like, you can't do that when you're going for a title run right now. So I'm thinking in the off season, that's probably more likely, and you're likely to get more value there.
You have to note that they did this. The Rangers did it with Hamels.
Yeah, they did.
So he's got the big contract.
Mm-hmm.
So they have the money, obviously, because they've been talked about for trading for him. So they
no salary cap baseball.
Yeah.
Exactly, but. Yeah, exactly what you said. Will they do it because the Rangers have probably, besides the Cubs, is the second best team with like the best youngsters out there.
Yeah.
And their farm system is phenomenal too. So the only team I could see really is the Rangers, because one, they need pitching, but they're still in first place, which is amazing for them. But I don't think he'll get moved. And if it gets to the offseason, I don't think he gets moved either. I think the White Sox, I think the White Sox will try to, again,
load up in free agents.
Load up in free agents, but it's just like, it's got to be a time when like you can't do that. It just doesn't work.
They have to accept the rebuild at some point. I said this last week,
but they don't want to, because they have Chris. Like,
Yeah,
some teams rebuild, and I get that, like the Cubs did, but the Cubs didn't have a guy like Chris Sale.
that's true.
Yeah.
They had some field players, they had some good pitching, but not a guy like Chris Sale.
It's
And it's hard to give up as an owner.
the Angels and the White Sox are kind of similar in the fact that they both have really good guys, but no one around them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like you got it's Trout and
The
Sale.
Mike Trout conversation all over again.
Yeah, and just a sidebar for a second. You mentioned the Yankees with Chris Sale, and I think that would be super interesting.
Yeah.
Chris Sale and the Yankees
Are you
because
saying like at next season?
yeah, because the Yankees have not been good for a long time. I think the 2010s will probably because we only got four more champions in this decade. This will
Yes.
probably only be like the second decade ever where the Yankees do not win a championship.
Yeah.
Almost, they got two in the 2000s. They got 2000, and then they got 2009. So they got a couple there, but I can't remember what decade it was. I believe it was the 70s where the Yankees didn't have a championship.
That's
that was
crazy.
like the first one. They have a championship in every other decade,
Crazy.
which is
Late.
crazy. And you got to wonder if being just normal for so long is going to make the owners want to go out and make trades. Like, what if the
A move
Yankees get
like
Trout?
like Sale. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
If the Yankees get Trout, what if they get
Oof.
Sale? Any of those guys, it would just be crazy. And we're kind of bringing the conversation to the Yankees more than it was on Sale. But I'm just saying,
Yeah.
Yankees with Sale, that would be super interesting.
It would be very interesting.
Well, whoever trades for him he still has a contract with the White Sox, so this isn't really a rental.
Yeah,
This
absolutely.
guy, you have to look at it
Yeah.
in the future too, whereas like what Hamels was, obviously by keeping up Price, but Price was a rental. I'm not sure about who Boston traded for, Pomeranz.
Yeah, they got
Yeah.
Drew Pomeranz.
Is he a rental? Or does he?
I can look up Pomeranz's contract right now.
Yeah, but yeah.
The
anyways,
power of computers.
Yeah.
Thank you, Google.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we know what you're saying though, that like with Sale you're going to get more years out of him than just
Yeah.
this
It's not
one.
just-
And so that maybe that is why teams would just say, you know what, let's just wait till the off season and let's see what we can do.
Pomeranz, on Pomeranz, he's under his rookie deal until the end of 2017, and then he has arbitration up until 2019.
Okay.
So 2019 will be the first year that he could be a free agent.
All right.
Gotcha.
So yeah, they want him basically.
And
They got-
I will redact that Yankee statement. It was the 1980s when they did
There
not
you
win
go.
a championship.
Gotcha.
So only one decade since 1920 where the
That's
Yankees have not won a
crazy.
championship. But we're possibly living in the second one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris Sale I don't think he'll be moved.
Not yet.
Teams
Not yet.
want him, obviously.
Yeah, not yet.
Because if you can get an impact pitcher, and you know your team has a
Mm.
great chance of making the playoffs, like the Rangers or like Cleveland, he's not only going to win you games in the regular season to get you to the postseason, but when you get to the postseason, you don't have all five starters throwing.
No.
So think about the Rangers if they can have Sale and Hamels in the playoffs, and
And Darvish.
and Darvish exactly.
Mhm.
So they have to look at it in that way too, because obviously people who trade for players right now who are buying are playoff teams. And
Yeah.
I mean that's obviously
That's what it is. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah. So we'll see. I doubt he's getting moved. It's 5 days left.
Yeah, there is one undisputed fact though that Sale will not get traded to the Cubs.
No.
I'm a big believer in that, mostly because I bet the White Sox owner does not want to help the Cubs win a World Series. Even if the Cubs have the pieces to trade for him, it's not.
Would be
gonna
nice.
Would be
It's not
nice.
gonna
Would be nice.
Would be nice, but it's not going to happen. All right, so moving back into our Olympic talk.
Going back to Rio,
Yeah.
USA basketball has been absolutely destroying their opponents. They just beat China last night by over 50, I believe.
Yeah.
And so this begs the question, and this question has been an Olympic question for so long. Should NBA players be able to compete on the national team? Hockey does it where only amateurs can play. And that has worked very well, so far through the Olympics.
It's
And
it's made it
more fair.
Yeah, it's made it fair because Canada and the United States would just destroy everyone in hockey.
Absolutely, and the U.S. has the NBA, obviously, and so every year or every Olympics, it seemed like they destroy. They win every FIBA championship. They win every Olympic gold medal. So, Rogals, should NBA players be able to compete on their national teams?
Are you saying for all national teams?
All national teams.
It's a tough question, and I think it would be more fun to watch how it is now, even though I don't really like NBA basketball. But I think every team should get the NBA players and just roll with how it goes. Unfortunately, because the USA does dominate, the pool of players, but there are some decent countries that do compete with them, and they didn't even win gold in 04. They got a bronze actually. Right. So they've been beaten before. It's just the way their track record looks. It just looks like they dominate, which they do because they've been in the Olympics 17 times and gotten a medal all 17 times at least. Whether it was a bronze, silver, or gold. So I think they just have to roll with it because who will play on the USA team?
College, right? College students would be.
I'd probably say college students.
Which you could also argue that college students in the U.S. would still annihilate.
I don't know about annihilate, but I think so. Probably
well, if you do college USA players and then you have to go to these other countries and get young players, I think the USA still beats them.
I think so
because the only way the USA team is losing to, like, in the past, like Argentina or something, is like other NBA players are actually beating them. Like the teams that they do lose to are good countries, like Argentina and stuff. I think Ginobili played on Argentina, correct? Or no? I don't know.
Yes,
we're gonna have to fact check that.
Yeah, fact check me on that. But
well, I know Spain is always good with the Gasols.
Right, exactly. So there are good teams. I don't just think it would be interesting to watch. NBA is way bigger than the NHL, in my opinion. Yes. So I think the NHL can do that. But I think for this, I just leave it. It is what it is. I know it sucks, but I mean, you only play every 4 years, so
Andy,
it's like.
What about you?
I will say Manu Ginobili was on the 2004 Argentina men's
basketball team. Who else? Do you have the full?
Yeah,
roster?
I do. I have the full roster.
They won it. They got gold, right?
I believe. Yeah, gold medal. They got Carlos Delfino.
Fantastic.
Gabriel Fernandez.
Absolutely.
Manu Ginobili, Leonardo Gutierrez. I'm starting to get into the players I don't know. Oh, Luis Scola.
Okay, yes. Okay. I knew there was another. He was great.
Scola was good back in 04. Now he's trash, but
but Andres Nocioni.
Fantastic.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, he played the NBA.
Yeah,
he was a Bull.
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
Man, that's why I know him. Okay, but for should NBA players be allowed to play? I mean, I gotta go yes, because I don't want to have to restrict who's able to play on Olympic teams just because we're beating everyone else.
Exactly.
Clearly, it's not exciting, but it's like our country's better than yours. Sorry, I don't know what else to say.
And I mean, that's like some teams do dominate sports every single year.
Yeah.
It's not just USA. Like USA
like
has
soccer.
Basketball.
We don't have soccer. USA doesn't go anywhere in the World Cup games or anything, any of the big tournaments.
Exactly. And so
we're not gonna argue that other countries like England shouldn't have Premier League players on their team.
Exactly.
Let the best players play. We just happen to have all of the best.
We just happen to have them.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate that it has to go that way, but it is what it is at this point. And I'm sure countries have tried to get a petition or whatever.
It's kind of like what they did with baseball and softball. How softball was just destroying everyone, and it wasn't interesting for anyone anymore. So that's why they got rid of softball, and in turn they had to get rid of baseball from the Olympics.
Yeah.
Baseball in the Olympics, man.
Oh man.
And I forgot what I was gonna say. So never mind. It was
That
something
happens
about
sometimes.
yeah. It was on my mind, and I forgot what I was going to say. Oh yeah, well, college. He had college basketball players play for it. I think it'd just be hard to work around just even their just school schedule
Yeah, I
at this
agree.
point. Because if how long does Olympics go for?
A couple of weeks. I think it's
Yeah,
two.
Oh,
It's 2
okay. I thought it
weeks.
was longer than
I think
that.
it's more than well. Also, just practices leading up to it. I
Yeah.
mean, and so in total, actually, I think the Olympics are about 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah. So now
Really?
you're almost
And
going into
yeah,
September.
and so it's about like a 6 week period of time dedicated to the Olympics.
Yeah.
Right,
Um,
and you have to train with the team, practice with the team, and then
you have your
they
exhibition games
start
and
college. Yeah, they start college ball in October.
exactly. So that you get right back into it, and so I think that might be a little difficult.
Yeah.
And
Like-
we'll put retired players in there. Put Boozer out there.
We're gonna have Boozer,
Yeah, right. Duncan comes back.
Stoudemire, Duncan,
Yeah.
Bryant on the team. I'd
Yeah,
be okay with that.
Perfect.
I'd
I think
actually
they
like
would
to
still
see
win.
they
that.
would still win.
They'd still win, and I'd really enjoy watching that. Probably. I don't
I
like
would-
watching the NBA, but watching just a bunch of like old dudes beat up on everyone else.
Is
Yeah.
there like an
be
eligibility for that, or can like they ask
I believe
anyone?
it's 18 and over.
So like you could go ask like Duncan.
Yeah,
Technically, is that
Technically.
playing? Okay, so they could technically.
I don't
ask
know.
us.
I don't know if there are any 50-year-olds in top condition better than a 21-year-old NBA player.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe Dr. J could still jam on people.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'd
Jordan.
love that.
Jordan still got it. And
Yeah.
Duncan's fresh. Maybe give him one more medal. He's got plenty NBA
yeah.
time.
Oh yeah. All right. So
Yeah.
we're all saying, don't restrict it.
Yeah.
It's these
is
are our
what it is.
players.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. We're better than you. We don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So that's basketball.
Rogals, would you like to introduce your topic of the day?
Yeah, so this is my favorite sport to watch. Baseball is obviously my favorite sport to play, but football, the NFL, forget college football. I hate it. That's another topic. We don't have to talk about that. But the NFL teams reported to camp. Very excited. So I've been religiously following Twitter and all social media outlets for Bear stuff. I think I follow like every Bear beat reporter you can name or just think of. I follow them, but teams all reported to camp, I believe, yesterday and today, and preseason starts in same week as the Olympics. Actually,
I believe so as well.
Hall of
Yeah.
Fame game.
It's getting close.
Yeah, the Hall of Fame game is I want to say the 8th or 7th of August.
So it's like right around.
Andy,
there.
the fact checker, is getting
Yeah,
his Google tool out.
Maybe the 11th. I don't know. It doesn't matter. They're reported. They're there. So
it is
I guess
August 7th.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, then that Sunday and Saturday, I believe, is when like every other game starts. So I think the Bears do play on a Sunday. But we can do. I just wanted to hear your guys' super early preseason predictions, I guess. Who's your favorite to win the Super Bowl, and do you have any potential teams that you think will surprise the league, and any teams you think will be a complete bust? And anyone can take the floor.
All right.
Start. Let's go with. Let's do the Super Bowl prediction last. That's a super early prediction, but let's. I guess not surprises, but what teams or team are you guys most excited about to watch and hopefully succeed this season?
Okay, well, first one that comes to mind for me are the Bears, just because clearly the bias there, and we know that John Fox has done amazing things with teams in his second year. Like he took the Carolina Panthers to the Super Bowl in his second year coaching there. I don't think it was the Broncos to the Super Bowl his second year coaching, but he definitely improved them a lot.
Leaps, yeah.
Right.
So the Bears look good. That's a good pick, but I'm gonna go. See, I'm torn between two teams right now. Oh man, I feel like I'm gonna burp. Do them both? All right. For me, it's gonna be the Oakland Raiders and the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I picked Jaguars too.
Yeah, because the Jaguars, they've got Ramsey, they've got Miles Jack, they've got who was the guy that got injured last year? Fowler got injured last year. That defense is going to be crazy. Clearly, it won't be like great to begin with, but like watching that team get better.
But then
and,
on
like,
offense,
grow,
you got Bortles, Hearns, Watson,
yeah,
or not Watson, Robinson,
Robinson,
Julian Thomas,
yeah,
Julius.
Julius Thomas, like the Orange Julius.
Clearly, we don't know a lot about the Jaguars.
Yeah, no one does at this point, but just like all of the young players they have, that team is looking like really good. It's gonna be fun to watch them.
They're
young.
They're definitely up and coming. I'm excited about them, and that's a division they can win.
Oh yeah,
definitely. And I also said, I mean, they made the playoffs last year, I believe, but I also said the Vikings. You know, I think that team or the NFL and fans around the NFL often, you know, disregard the Vikings just because, you know, they're always there, but they're not in contention.
They've got great uniforms too.
They do have great uniforms.
Unlike the Jaguars, the Vikings have like one of the best uniform sets in the NFL.
Yeah, I really like their team though. I really do.
They're good. I also said the Raiders because they've got Derek Carr at quarterback. I always get the Carr brothers confused. It's Derek Carr that's playing now, and David was the one that fizzled out. Derek Carr is playing now. Amari Cooper at wide receiver. Khalil Mack.
Yeah.
They have the tools.
End. What was that, Rogals?
I said they have the tools.
They'd have the tools to be really good this year, and I'm super excited. Who they signed someone at running back, I thought.
They have Latavius Murray, but they had him last. They've had him the last couple of years.
But the Raiders look great. I'm excited for that. I'll probably watch Carr to Cooper a lot. I'll probably play them a lot in Madden.
Yeah, in Madden, yeah.
That'll be a fun.
Or in your daily fantasy league.
Daily fantasy league. Amari Cooper, a good pickup. I'm getting ready for fantasy football. My family has to do the draft before I move to college because we do a offline draft, or we do a snake draft, but we're all in the same place.
Got it.
Yeah, that's how we used to do it in our league. But Steve, our faculty advisor, or yours, not mine anymore, just invited myself and Coco to he has an alumni league.
Really? Oh, you're in the alumni league, bro.
Wow. So yeah, there's some Tim's in it, Tim VD, but there's some guys I don't know. I'm sure went to school when Steve did.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys will be in it once you graduate, but I'm excited for it.
In 3 years, we'll be there.
Yeah. Hey.
And what's your team name in that league?
I haven't. All I did was accept it. I haven't really dived into it yet. So maybe you guys can help me out picking a team because it all looks like they have team names.
Yeah.
All really creative. So I kind of need to look good.
Yeah.
Because half of them probably don't know who I am.
Yeah, I'm getting so excited for fantasy football.
Yeah, I'm ready for football.
I may like it more than I like NFL football. I enjoy fantasy a lot. Yeah.
It's fun, dude. It's getting so big now. It's getting popular every second.
Yeah.
It's like all these new podcasts, all these new websites, all these new TV specials
it's
now.
Blowing up.
It's its own thing now. It's
it's crazy.
It's getting comparable to because they have all those Sunday morning fantasy football shows. It's getting comparable to college game day.
Yeah, exactly.
Saturday morning. You wake up Saturday morning for game day and Sunday morning for fantasy football.
And now
now,
former Tim Hasselbeck, former actual NFL players are getting into it, and they're actually experts now. And they know a lot more about football than us, obviously. So they get the players. They know what they can and cannot do, and they know how to study teams and stuff. So I know it's getting big when they put former professional athletes to cover fantasy.
I already got my number one pick locked in. I picked third this year, and I'm going.
Oh, you guys already have the order?
Yeah, I'm going Todd Gurley.
Ooh,
if he's there,
that's hot. That's a hot pick.
I picked the Rams as a bust team.
Yeah, we need to get back to that because now we're just talking about fantasy football.
I picked the Rams as a bust team for me.
They might be one of my teams to watch just because it's their first year in LA.
That's why there's so much hype.
I
think that they're going to bust. I don't think that they're going to do up to their expectations.
That's a lot of pressure on Jared Goff.
And it's a ton of pressure on him. And then my other bust I said was the Cowboys. I love Ezekiel Elliott, but they're always a bust. To me, you just cannot count on them to produce, and so that's why I said that they're a bust.
For bust, I'll probably go with the Broncos because you're not going to be able
Yeah,
to
I
capture
don't
that
even
same
know if they're.
magic.
I don't know if they even know if they're considered a bust, but
I don't think they have very good expectations.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I guess
they're-
that's true. But coming off a Super Bowl win,
Yeah, yes.
it's kind of a bust a season not making the playoffs.
well, yeah,
Yes.
they lost Manning.
They lost Manning. Who are they going to have?
They lost like
Mark
half
Sanchez.
their defense.
Yeah,
And
it's
they
either-
lost Osweiler. That was the worst part because
That
everyone
was-
knew
yeah.
Manning was going to retire.
They
But losing
have
Osweiler in free agency was the worst part for them.
yeah,
they got Sanchez and they drafted
yeah.
Paxton Lynch
They drafted
Yeah.
Paxton Lynch. Yeah,
from
Which will be
Memphis.
interesting to see how he develops. But for right now, the Broncos, it's not looking good for them.
I think we
Uh-huh.
play them week 1 in preseason.
Nice. Let's go
You've played them,
Bears.
so we'll be able to watch Lynch and Sanchez.
That'll be fun. Getting to watch young guys is one of my favorite
Yeah.
parts of.
Yeah,
and even
Football.
though it's very very early, my Super Bowl pick is actually the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think that the Steelers are going to
I
win.
like it.
I do.
like that
I said it last week. I love Pittsburgh. I think they're a top 3 team in the league, and I think that it's their time again. You know, even Le'Veon Bell may be suspended. I don't think that he will be, but he's a top 3 running back in the league. Antonio Brown is the best receiver in the league, in my opinion. And then Roethlisberger is always so consistent in his passing yards, and their defense is good. You know, their defense has always been good, and so they're my pick. I think that they're going to win.
Roethlisberger has been my fantasy quarterback for a couple of years now.
He's very consistent.
Yeah, he is.
He's good. He chucks the ball. They just throw it around on that team.
Yeah.
All right, so Rogals,
Yeah.
your super early Super Bowl pick.
So I'm on Mitch's side right now.
Really?
I don't really believe any of the not NL teams, NFC teams. I'm in baseball mode still,
Yeah.
obviously, but
we all are a little bit.
yeah, I could see Carolina going back again. Arizona is always
Yeah.
that's
That
like
was
one
my
of
other
my
choice.
bandwagon teams.
Yeah.
Those two will be fun.
Green Bay will be there. Seattle should be there, but I don't like Cincy. I'm just looking at the standings from last season.
I never liked Cincinnati, honestly.
And Andy Dalton, he's not premier. Not
Yeah.
a premier quarterback.
Marvin Lewis has made the playoffs I'm sorry. He's made pretty much every year he's coached the Bengals. He's 0-7.
Yeah, he's
I think
not
he's
great.
coached 8 seasons and he's made it 7 times.
It's crazy.
But I'm going to
Marvin
pick
Lewis.
Pittsburgh. Roethlisberger, top 5 quarterback. Brown, number 1 receiver. Bell, number 1 running back, in my opinion, when on the field.
Mhm.
Their defense, like Mitch
It's
said,
good.
is good. It's good enough
Yeah.
to win a Super Bowl,
Mm.
in my opinion. It's nothing like what Denver was last year,
No.
though, and that's where you have to. I mean, this is super early, so like it's hard to tell.
All
But-
of this is going to change
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
soon as the season
And
starts.
Pittsburgh is a team that seems like they beat really good teams every year and then lose to those teams that it's a
Yeah.
cakewalk. So, they'll lose to the Browns, but they'll go ahead and they'll beat New England on Sunday night in Foxborough.
Yeah.
And you're just like,
You're like,
yeah, you
Like,
just,
yeah, sure. Whatever, Pittsburgh.
enough about Pittsburgh, Andy. What's your pick?
I'm going with the Seattle Seahawks.
You're so mainstream.
I'm not
You're
mainstream.
So mainstream.
I believed in the Seahawks before they even got there. I remember the past couple, I think 2 years ago, I predicted the Seahawks Broncos before the season started. Season after that, I predicted Seahawks Patriots. And then last season, before the season started, I felt like it was going to be Colts Packers, and I got that so wrong.
You were wrong.
I got that so wrong. Andrew Luck injury definitely killed me. But this season, I don't know. I'm not really getting a feeling either way for like what team. Definitely the Seahawks feel good, but the AFC is just up for grabs with Brady out, with Luck coming off his injury. Pittsburgh is going to have a really good opportunity just because of those teams not being at their strongest. But for me, Russell Wilson, he's married now. He's going to come back strong.
he's whipped.
He's
It's whipped.
he won't have to worry about that. He probably just got real sad about not being married, and now he's just better now that he is, and just emotional stuff. He's over it, and now he's going to come back stronger. And that's why I think the Seahawks are going to be
They
it.
just re-signed Carroll, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
Pete Carroll
Through
and the GM.
2019, I believe.
And their GM.
And their GM got re-signed as well.
Yeah.
So that team is looking good. I love their uniforms.
The uniforms are so good.
I love uniforms, but I'll get more into that in my FaceTime. Which actually brings us
To FaceTime.
to FaceTime.
All right.
What is
Yes.
that? All right, so Mitch, you can go ahead and take it away.
All right, so the Falcons just released all-time great special teams player Devin Hester, who is currently the all-time leading special teams touchdown leader in NFL history, and former teammate Brian Urlacher said that he believes 100% that Devin Hester belongs in the Hall of Fame, and I completely agree with this. This topic could definitely, be debated, but in my opinion, even though I may be a little biased as I am a Bears fan, I've seen him in a Bears uniform so much, and he did so much work for the Bears. He's the greatest return man to ever play the game. And if you're going to put kickers in the Hall of Fame, and if you're going to put Steven Gostkowski, who's currently with the Patriots and arguably the greatest kicker of all time, if he goes in the Hall of Fame, I think Devin Hester definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame as well. I 100%, like Urlacher said, I think that he is the best return man. And Hester, if you're watching, thank you for all that you did for Chicago. We all love you. You'll always be a Bears player in our minds and a Bears legend. So I definitely think that he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
You mentioned Steven Gostkowski as the best kicker of all time, but in my opinion, it's got to be Sebastian Janikowski. Anyways,
you're right.
Going into my FaceTime, I'm here talking about logos and uniforms, as I hold them near and dear to my heart. I frequent the website sportslogos.net just because I like looking at designs and stuff like that. I just get really creative that way. Sometimes I make my own designs. I made all this for the Andy and Mitch show. It's just what I like to do. So I always get excited whenever they release just logos for special events in sports, whether it's the World Series, the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl has gotten kind of meh because of the whole generic Super Bowl logo the past couple of years, but the All-Star Game for Major League Baseball has always been a big one. And the new Miami Marlins one did not disappoint. They released it today. If you haven't seen it, go on Twitter and check it out. It's actually a really good logo. Even if you don't like the Miami Marlins colors, it does a great job of using their colors, but not making it over exaggerated like they have. Probably the worst part and most surprising part of the logo is the big MasterCard logo, the credit card company right underneath the new MLB All-Star Game logo. Now, this isn't new. There has been sponsors for the All-Star Game before, and there has been sponsors for just different kinds of things before. The NBA is now going to have sponsors on their uniforms, much like soccer teams. We all know how I feel about that. Now, the All-Star Game with the logo on it, it doesn't make me feel good, but if that's what you have to do to keep logos off the actual uniforms for Major League Baseball, then I guess I'm okay with it, because the MasterCard logo will not actually be on the patch on uniforms, so that makes me feel better. But just the branding of it all just makes me feel like Major League Baseball has sold out in a way. But in my heart, I know that as long as logos stay off the uniforms, then I will just be fine with whatever else they have to do. If I ever become an MLB broadcaster and they need to sponsor my name, fine. Just keep it off of the uniforms. I'll be MasterCard Olsen for the rest of my life. Just keep it off of the uniforms. And now it's Rogals' turn, and we didn't really make that clear.
FaceTime.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Last, who knows?
You go ahead, man.
I'm going to talk about Colorado Rockies and why they deserve better. And if you look at their team right now, if you look at how they're hitting, you think they're maybe a second place team or a wild card team, but they are 48-52, 6 games out of the wild card. They're in third place. In the division, they're 11 games out. But let's look at some of their hitters. So Nolan Arenado, second in the NL with 26 home runs. Trevor Story leads the NL with 27, both on the Rockies, if you didn't know. Hence why I'm talking about the Rockies. Arenado is tied for the most runs batted in the NL. And Story is, let me check, so I don't get fact-checked by Andy. 71 RBIs. He is 5th in the NL. And you have DJ LeMahieu, who is 3rd in the NL in batting average and 5th in all of the MLB. So their hitting is ridiculous. They still have Carlos Gonzalez, who has 20 home runs. So they have 3 hitters already over 20 home runs. this team is good enough to win, but I don't know what's going on. I think they deserve better, but their pitching, and I know we talked about it off the show. Their pitching is what bothers me because they have these. They have all like no name pitchers pretty much, and some of us who are more fans of the MLB may know them, but they simply do not have any pitching, and it frustrates me because this team is so good. And Gonzalez is on his way out because he's getting old. Who knows? He might be shipped off soon. But they deserve better, and I'm rooting for them because the Rockies are a fun team to watch. They haven't been really good since Tulo and that one crazy World Series run they had. I'm rooting for them. I hope you guys are too. I know, Andy, you're repping the Rockies hat. That's why I kind of did my FaceTime on the Rockies. They have no pitcher over 10 wins, and their best ERA is 3.65, which isn't bad, but the pitching isn't there, and it's sad to see. And I know they won't make any moves because they don't have the money like the Yankees do, or the Cubs, or the Rangers. So there's my FaceTime. Go Rockies! I hope they catch the wild card.
Yeah, you're actually pretty close with the Rockies because of your out of the park baseball franchise.
Every team, every player I like scrolling through, I'm like, oh, he's on my team. He's on my. Because I don't keep up with them like religiously, like in real life, but it's like it's pretty much everyone I have. It's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, if you like baseball and you have not played out of the park baseball for PC, you are missing out because it is one of the greatest things that has ever existed. I was playing it yesterday. We're not sponsored by them, but I wish we were. Because that game is awesome. I wish we could just play that game all together. It's really cool.
Just do like a Twitch.
Yeah.
Just like me just clicking buttons.
Because that's all you do. All you do is click buttons.
Yeah.
There's no gameplay. But that pretty much wraps it up. That was a long episode, guys. Longest we've ever had.
Hey,
really?
You know what?
Yeah.
I think I talk too much, but it is what it is.
That's all right.
Everyone
that's like my quote for this episode. It is what it is.
It is what it is. It all happens.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that was episode 006, everyone.
Woo!
Huge thank you to Nick Rogals for showing up and making this episode better than ever and outshining both of us. Right, Andy? We're trash.
Yeah, we are trash. Go tell us on Twitter. As you can see with our names above our cameras, it also has our Twitter. So you can go follow us. You can block us if you want to. So you don't have to see any of our trash. Me. Yeah, you don't have to see any of our trash on your timeline. You can tell us that we're wrong. Pretty much, I think that's what everyone does. Tell us if we're wrong. You can also tweet at the show if you look at this hashtag down here. Hashtag
Andy and Mitch.
Not Andy and Mitch show, which is hashtag Andy and Mitch. You can tweet at us. Tell us we're trash on Twitter, or you can tell us we're trash in the comments. Just pretty much, we have lots of avenues.
Anything you want.
Lots of avenues.
Any place that you can tell us trash, just do it.
If you think we're not trash, or if you think we do, and you want to hear our trash opinions, you can leave a suggestion for what you want us to talk about.
Absolutely. Leave a like, subscribe, comment. If you do a suggestion, we will talk about it. So, absolutely.
Any last words, guys?
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you for coming on, Rogals.
And thank you all for watching. Episode 006 is over. Thank you all so much, and we will see you next week.
See ya.